Good day, people. Thought I'd take a little bit of time today to talk about the image that we're looking at right now. I'm going to see if I can't use it to illustrate both the meaning of the words conception and perception, but also to try to show the interrelationship between them. I think first thing to begin with is Immanuel Kant's line where he says that conception without percept would be empty, and perception without concept would be blind. The point here would be that you never really have pure perception or pure conception. When we look out into the world, our perceptions are shaped and formed and guided by the concepts that we have, and our concepts, in order to have any kind of integrity or any substance, they need to be filled in with the rich sensory data that comes in through perceptual process. So I think we want to admit that we never have either pure perception or pure conception. Even given that, we can be a little bit more precise if we turn to Suzanne Langer. Suzanne Langer would suggest that language, in a sense, is conception, and conception is the frame of perception. And although there might be lots of concepts that are beyond language and are there prior to language, language can't be separated out from conceptualization. That is, language is a conceptualizing process, and it's the way that concepts get weaned from their installment in the immediate perceptual manifold, and they get released for free play in discourse, and it turns concepts from something that is just infused into the world into a free floating socially intelligible concept that can be talked about and guide the perception of other people. And so we can have socially intelligible perceptions because we're able to talk. Our talk is, again, a kind of ongoing conceptualization that's shared with others. Now, I'm going to see if I can illustrate that somewhat directly here by looking at the image that you have in front of you. Now, I think one of the simplest way to begin would be to say, how many? Now, if I say how many to you, my guess is you resist the question. It almost doesn't make sense. People say, how many what? That is, when they say how many what, they're asking for the concept in order to begin the counting. You can't count what doesn't have a boundary, and in order to introduce boundaries into the perceptual manifold, you're going to have to say some concept or some category that will allow you to group, put together the items that you're going to count. So just as an example, if I were to say how many green triangles, I think we have now a way to delimit it. We say, okay, there's green triangles, and we look and we count and we say, okay, there were two of them. If I say how many red items, see, now we look just to the color independent of shape, right? How many red items? My guess is that at first pass, we're inclined to say that there are two, but maybe we're not really sure yet. But I think my guess is we're going to say two. If I say how many circles, I think again we're likely to agree that there's three. Now, if I say how many shapes, there I think it gets interesting. Many people would be inclined to just count all of them right there. If I say how many items are out of alignment, now when I say items, what is the perceptual substance that I'm using to ground that category? I mean, I think when we talk about a triangle or when we talk about a color, we can see the shape and we can see the color. Again, assuming we're not colorblind, the color is very evident. But when we get to something like an item or an object, those are somewhat interesting categories. They're not as clear cut as particular shapes. Now, even there, I think the point is that each time when we use a word and we give a category, our perceptual process is such that it allows us to organize and group up the totality of all the things that are there right now. Now, if I say, for example, how many sides, now it gets very interesting. How many sides on a circle? I guess we're going to say one, maybe two, an inside and outside. Again, the sides introduces a new order of conceptualization into the perceptual manifold that was there. The arrangement doesn't speak on its own behalf. There is obviously so much more than the conceptual world or the things that we talk about. And when we speak, we group and organize and categorize the world. And it's not that there isn't any order or conceptualization independent of language. It's that with language, you're now able to socially convey concepts in a way that detaches them from an immediate installment and makes them available for a kind of abstract information transfer. Again, the real sticking point is that you can't ever say directly what your perceptions are. If you're speaking at all, you've already intermingled conception into perception. Okay, thanks.